So, look, Sarah. Look, Sarah. To the movies. Go. So look, Sarah is going to the movies, right? Look, John is running out there. On her right hand, Sarah?
Carrying.
Sarah what?
Carrying.
Is carrying. So Sarah's carrying, right? So on her right hand, Sarah is carrying her handbag. The handbag, this is very easy, is very beautiful. Sarah usually puts on black shoes, but now she is wearing white trainers. And look, she take an umbrella. Is taking an umbrella because it
Raining.
It is raining. It is raining, huh? It's raining. Now when his mother already breakfast. When he
Woke up.
Claudia? When he, this morning, when he, Yuko?
Woke up.
When he woke up? Woke up? Claudia, his mother already, what?
I'm not ready.
Now go ahead.
Had prepared.
Try. So when he woke up, his mother when he woke up, his mother had
Already prepared.
Yuko. When he woke up in the past, so before that, his mother had already prepared breakfast. When he woke up, his mother had already prepared. Yeah? His breakfast. We to London because our friends.
We went.
So we went to London
Invited us.
because our friends what?
Had invited.
Claudia, do you agree? Had invited or invited?
I don't know.
Yeah, our friends invited us before we went there, right? So we went to London because they had invited us, right? Had invited. Why had invited? Because they had invited before we went there. But last night I saw Peter. He had invited, or he invited me for lunch next week. Which one?
He had invited me.
No. Last night I saw Claudia. She invited me to her birthday party, for example. Because she invited me last night. When I saw her, she invited me. But last night, I went to Yuko's place. She had a party. She had invited me 2 weeks ago. Oh, I wasn't invited. Is it understandable? Not really. Yuko. 2 months ago, Javi invited me to his birthday. Okay? 2 months ago, Javi invited me to his birthday.
Yes.
Okay?
And what is it?
And so last night was his birthday. I went to his birthday last night. He had invited me before. Take this. I will explain this again. Yuko, do you get it or no?
Okay.
Please check this. I'll explain this right after this. So, we went to London because our friends had invited us. Why not invited us? Because they had invited us before we went there. It was an action before another action in the past. Hear the news, go to the telephone and he
Right.
So let me put when before he when he when he what?
He had.
When he heard the news, when he heard the news, when he heard the news, he went to the telephone and called a friend. Yeah? So when he heard the news, he went to the telephone and called a friend.
But it is for only we, no when.
No, I added when. When.
Okay.
When she,
Started.
you call, when she,
Started.
okay? When she started learning English, she, you call.
She had already learned French.
Exactly, she had already learned French. She had already learned French when she started learning English. So she had already learned French when she started learning English. Jane
Had already typed.
yeah, Claudia. Jane
Had already typed
3 pages.
when her computer crashed.
Do you know, or did you just copy Mako?
I know.
Does it make sense to you?
No.
Why not? Look, something before something else in the past, perfect. You said you had cooked lasagna before John arrived. That was your own sentence. You used formula though, and I told you try to understand, not just formula. Javi had finished his siesta before we arrived. So he had finished before we arrived. We arrived here. Before that, he had.
Finish action in the past.
So Jane
Something else
had
after.
already typed 3 pages when her computer crashed. Yeah? Mako, by the time the doctor
Arrived at the house, the patient
So by the time the doctor arrived at the house, the patient,
patient has died.
the patient
Had
had died. Had already died. By the time the doctor arrived at 9 o'clock, the patient died at 8 p.m. So by the time the doctor arrived, the patient had already died. Had died or had already died. Before that day, Yuko,
He had
Uh-huh.
Never thought.
We had never thought of traveling to Japan. Before that day, we had never thought of traveling to Japan. We had never thought of traveling to Japan. I know him for a long time before his family. Claudia. I met his family last week. But I knew him for a long time. So you can say I knew him for a long time before I met his family, or I had known him for a long time. I had known
But here
him.
both are correct.
You know, before and after, for before and after you can use simple past or past perfect. I knew him for a long time before I met his family, or I had known him for a long time before I met his family. So I had known him for a long time before I met his family, or I knew him for a long time before I met his family. Javi?
What? Sorry.
I had known him for a long time. I'd known him for a long time before I met his family.
Perfect.
I'd known him. It means I had known him or I'd known him for a long time before I met his family, right? Or I knew him for a long time before I met his family. They not know where to meet because nobody tell them. They
Haven't known.
They didn't know where to meet because nobody, Yuko, because nobody
Told. Had told.
because nobody had told them. They didn't know where to go. Last night, Javi and I, we were in New York. We didn't know where to go. Not last night, last week. Nobody had told us. Nobody had told them. Looks weird? Don't worry. It Javi, it's cloudy for days before it began to rain.
It had been cloudy 4 days before.
It had been cloudy for days before it began to rain. It had been cloudy for days before it began to rain. You have the next set, right? I just finished, right? So, what should I say here? Just finished my homework.
I just finished.
I've just finished.
Just.
I have just, and instead of have, we say I've just finished. I've just finished my homework. Means just now, my homework. I have just eaten my lunch. I have just done my homework. Means just now. Mary, 5 letters. Claudia, this one, I think.
Mary had already wrote.
No, why had? Do we have any past thing? No, you only say had done something before something else in the past. Now, I'm saying Mary has already written 5 letters. Yeah? Look, Mary had already written 5 letters when I arrived, when Jack came. This is the past. But I'm looking at Mary, she has written 5 letters already. Okay, we will talk about it. It's good. It's good that now we know. So what's wrong? So Yuko, does it make sense to you? Mary has already written 5 letters. Yeah? Javi, does it make sense?
Wait,
Mary has already written 5 letters.
Mary has already written.
Written. I would say Mary had written 5 letters.
Because maybe she's gonna write more. No?
Look, she has finished her lunch. She has, look, can I say she writes 5 letters? The 5 letters are here. She has finished. So what should I say? She has written 5 letters. I have read that book. I have watched that movie. I have written 5 letters already. How many more letters should I write? I have already written 5 letters. How many more letters should I write? Yesterday, Yuko was supposed to write 10 letters. When I arrived, she was writing letters. She had written 5 letters when I arrived. So she had to write 5 more letters. But now, look at Mako, she's writing. She's writing letters. She has already written 5 letters. She should write 5 more letters. Now please keep this in mind because we'll get back to it again. Tom? In 1994, Tom moved. It's in the past. What did he do? 1994? Moved. Yeah?
Yeah.
Moved to his hometown in 1994. Do you guys agree? I called him yesterday. I moved to California last year. I came to Canada last year. Tom moved to whatever in 1996. Yeah? Does it make sense? Yuko, what's wrong with it?
Tom has moved to his hometown in 1990.
Why has moved? It's
Because
in
in past-
19. It's one point in time. In 1994. I went there yesterday. I saw him yesterday. Can I say I have called you yesterday? Claudia, can I say I have called you yesterday?
I called.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
It's just, does it make sense to you when I say, I will go through this again and again, don't worry. But can I say I have eaten lunch yesterday? Or I ate lunch yesterday? I ate dinner last night, or I have eaten dinner last night? I called Javi this morning, or I have called Javi this morning?
I've been calling because maybe you.
Okay. Something that happened in the past and finished in the past. He moved to his hometown in 1994. I had breakfast this morning. I called Javi yesterday, right? My friend in Canada 2 years ago. What?
Has been.
I should change B. B doesn't look good here. Let's say move. Move. And in Canada? No.
Leave.
Let's say to Canada. My friend 2 years ago he
Move.
Maka? Moved. Moved to Canada 2 years ago. My friend moved to Canada 2 years ago. At least put the answers, Claudia, so we can double check later. I not to Canada so far. What? Somebody's not in Canada. Somebody is in Switzerland, in Sperringer. And I asked her, have you been to Canada? She says, no, I. No, I. What is the answer, Yuko?
I haven't
I haven't
been.
been to Canada so far.
So far.
Or I have never been to Canada. I haven't been to Canada so far. But I what? Already traveled to London a couple of times. Have already traveled to London a couple of times. Does it make sense? I haven't been to Canada, but I've been to London. But I have traveled to London. Last week, Mary and Paul. Last week, Mary and Paul went to the cinema. I can't take any pictures because I haven't bought a new film yet. I can't take any pictures because I haven't bought a new film yet. Their holidays in Paris last summer. Yuko.
Did they spend?
They spent? Spent. Spent is the past tense of spend, right? Spent. Claudia, this one. You ever see a whale?
Have you ever?
Yes. 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 Yes.
In about 5 minutes, he's gonna come and do the lights.
Great,
Is that okay?
and we're done.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, have you ever seen a whale? Yeah? Up to so far so good. Now, we're done with this.
Have you ever seen a whale?
So, yeah. Okay.